Ghostface is going to get a little bit of company. What do I mean by that? Well, we've just recently, well, not too recently, but we did have a look at the Sideshow Collectibles Ghostface from Scream, and overall really liked that figure. And you guys apparently did also like the figure by leaving all the comments that you did below in that review. But I did receive some follow-up questions from you, the viewing audience. One such question stood out to me from viewer Mark. Said he enjoyed the content I was doing on this channel and asked if there was any way whatsoever I would be able to show what the Ghostface looked like with some of my other horror figures in my 6-scale collection. Well, for you, Mark, I'd be happy to oblige. And it also served me to give me the opportunity at least to do a follow-up video on that original Sideshow Collectibles Ghostface. One of the big complaints you guys did have when it came to this particular figure was the fact that he was sporting a belt. Now, I did go ahead, and I didn't want to say I customized it, because really all it involved me doing was removing the belt from his robe. So really now all he is just the regular outfit that he has in the movie. Just to quickly show you guys again that Ghostface that we looked at before. I love this figure. Some people haven't said some people have said that the mask isn't the most screen accurate, scream accurate, even if you will. But yeah, I did take the time and I removed the belt. The belt, I admit, yeah, didn't really fit well with the character. And you know what? I mean, it doesn't make the robe any looser or anything like that. Again, it's a nice rubbery material fitted against his body. See it there on the back. So if you did want to take the time and remove the belt and you weren't really sure if it would do anything to the figure or if it was sewn in place, it's actually not. It's just, if anything, it leaves just a couple little creases, basically where the belt was pinching the robe in the first place. But I've gone ahead and done that. If you guys want to do that, you can also take off the belt. So further adding to Mark's question is, yes, could you show what the Ghostface looks like with some of the other 6-scale figures? An opportunity on my part to showcase my horror 6-scale figures. Yes, twist my rubber arm. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in a couple of those figures that we've looked at before. And I'll show you guys a comparison of how those 6-scale figures stack up with the Sideshow Collectibles Ghostface. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to do my best to, as extensively as I can, show you guys what it looks like scaled with some of those other figures. Speaking of Sideshow Collectibles, seeing as Ghostface actually was made by Sideshow Collectibles, let's do maybe a comparison first with one of my personal favorites from the Sideshow line, and that is the Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees. Obviously, you can already see there's a big size difference between the two figures, and it doesn't bother me really that Jason is taller than Scream's Ghostface. Now, even though this Jason, as I've stated several times in reviews before, isn't the most screen accurate, I still think they did a great job on this figure. I actually even considered getting a second one of these to see if I can customize it. So we're going to just move him back just a little bit because there are going to be a lot more figures that we're going to be bringing in. Speaking again of Sideshow Collectibles, sort of start with a high, and we have to kind of unfortunately drop a little bit lower. We can bring in the Freddy Krueger, which you know my feelings of this Freddy by now. Let's not knock the figure over though. We'll just move over Jason a little bit. I feel like I'm going to quickly run out of space here. But this Freddy is just a little bit taller than Ghostface. I still think of the two figures, the Ghostface is so much considerably better than that horrible looking Freddy. Disappointing is just the best way I could describe how this figure turned out, is just disappointing. Anyways, we can move Jason back just a little bit. We'll take Freddy and we'll just move him to the back there as well. Don't worry, Mark. Again, we're going to do our best to do some comparisons here. And if there's ever something that you guys want to see compared on this channel, maybe with something that I've reviewed before, and then you want to see how it looks with other figures, by all means, just drop me a line. Let me know. Leave it either in the comments section, or if you guys certainly want to contact me over on like Facebook, Instagram, possibly even Twitter, you can do that as well. Let's bring in a couple of 3-0 releases. Here he is next to the Pinhead, the Hellraiser Pinhead, which again, for its time, wasn't a bad looking figure. I really wish, and they probably don't have the licensing anymore to do it, but to go back and give us another Pinhead. I like the face. Not really super crazy about the angrier face with his mouth visible like this. I think more neutral head sculpt would have worked better. But I award points, though, to 3-0 for actually giving him real metal pins. He is taller than Ghostface. Ghostface so far seems pretty short with some of the other figures that we've looked at. Maybe bring in a slightly smaller figure to make him look a little bit bigger. we can bring in the QMX. Maybe we'll put her right there because she is so small after all. This is the QMX Nun. I really do want to fix this figure, see if I can somehow give her a longer body. I know, unfortunately, it's going to mean that her robe isn't, well, the robe isn't going to be then as long in her arms, and her arms are going to stick out. But just to kind of compare her next to Ghostface, the QMX Nun is too small. She really needed to be a lot taller than what she was. Still like the figure, just don't like the fact that she's so small. And again, if you guys want to see reviews on any of these, you should be able to find them easily on this channel. I'm always going back and looking at horror 6-scale figures. Bringing in maybe another one from Sideshow Collectibles. I'm just pulling it away here and making sure I'm getting his chainsaw in hand. That probably is the dead giveaway as to who I'm talking about here. The next figure that we can bring in, which for some strange reason his chainsaw isn't staying properly in place, is the Sideshow Collectibles Ash. The chainsaw has always been something that's plagued this figure for me. I think ultimately I'm just going to have to glue it in place. This chainsaw, like I said, always falls out from his hand. There's a certain way that goes when it comes to attaching this. But I think right from day one, I've always had the issue with this chainsaw falling off. You know what? I think I'm just ultimately going to finally decide for myself to glue this blasted chainsaw in place. Because like I said, it keeps falling off. Anyways, without his chainsaw, here he is. Here's Ghostface next to Ash. Ash, at its time, wasn't a bad-looking figure. I think, again, they sort of went safe, I think, with the release of Ash. They probably could have done a lot more than what they actually did with the figure, giving him a much more exaggerated expression. Looking a little more like the way that Bruce Campbell handled the character in the films. Still not a bad figure. Really hard to track down now. The Ash has really skyrocketed in prices. Maybe at some point, I don't know, Sideshow Collectibles will consider re-releasing the Ash for those that missed out on him the first time. Taking a quick break to actually properly put the chainsaw back on Ash's arm. Finally stayed in place for the time being. Let's just hope it actually stays that way. Let's bring in a couple of the other 3-0 releases we looked at before. We can bring in the Halloween 6 Michael Myers. This is from Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Probably makes a little bit more sense. I bring him in over, first of all, to Ghostface so you guys can see just how much taller. He is one of the tallest 6-scale figures that I have in my collection, at least of the horror variety. I have actually considered, I might even move forward with it, being that Sideshow Collectibles is going to be releasing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface, and that Tots, I'm sure Trick or Treat Studios is eventually going to be releasing a Curse Michael Myers. I'm actually considering parting ways with my 3-0 release. I liked it at the time, but I feel it sort of now looks a little bit more dated and aged. So I'm actually considering maybe parting ways finally with him. I'm going to move him over just a little bit. Speaking another 3-0 release, we can bring in the 3-0 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Hey, I was talking about him. I guess he is really the tallest figure I have in my collection. And again, you know, I'm considering it. I'm really thinking about parting ways with both of these figures. They sort of are more inspired by the movies, but not necessarily, you know, bang on screen likenesses. If I can get Leatherface to properly stand, please don't fall over, whatever you do. He is definitely a lot taller than the other figures we've looked at. Again, I'm really considering getting rid of that Leatherface and getting rid of Michael Myers. If anybody is interested, let me know down below in the comments section. Oh, knocking over Jason. We don't want to knock over Jason in the process. Let's bring in a couple of the Trick or Treat Studios Michael Myers, just for a couple of comparisons. There he is next to the Halloween 5 Michael Myers, which I guess is about the same height as Ghostface. Let's go ahead and fix his feet, and then I'll have to go back and retrieve Jason in a second. But there is the Part 5 Michael Myers, along with Ghostface. Again, he's probably about the same height. Let's get his boots fixed slightly. I have loved these Trick or Treat Studio Michael Myers. For other comparisons, we can bring in the 78. And we can also bring in the Part 4. What's omitted currently in this lineup, Ghostface sort of seems buried now. What is missing from this lineup right now is the 2018 Michael Myers, which at the time of me filming this for Mark, I actually did receive it in the mail. So a review of that one will follow. But this kind of gives you a good extensive idea. Let's see if I can just bring this back ever so slightly, give you guys a better idea. The only thing really missing it is Jason, who's kind of fallen in the background there. I wouldn't say Ghostface by comparison is well, I guess he is one of the smallest, but the type of character that usually is wearing this mask I think warrants the idea that he would be a little bit smaller than some of the other figures that I have in my collection. He is not the shortest, though. The award for shortest actually goes to, let's just move. There's the QMX Nun. She is still the shortest and way too small, again, if you ask me. I'm actually kind of considering doing a re-review of her, because I didn't talk nearly enough about how small that figure actually is. And it's not even until you really stack her up with some of the other horror figures in your collection do you actually realize just how small the figure actually is. Anyways, though, like I said, this wasn't so much a review, but just a follow-up video to the original Sideshow Collectibles Ghostface. It was more so to show you guys, first of all, that I did remove the belt because I didn't think the belt worked with the figure. I didn't talk nearly enough about it in the review. I really should have mentioned it wasn't the most screen accurate. It was sort of Sideshow's take on the figure, which ultimately I just removed the belt, and I think he looks a lot better without it. But this was also a follow-up per question of viewer Mark, who wanted to see how Ghostface stacked up with other 6-scale figures I have in my collection. And I hope through this review, this video more so follow-up, I was able to show you guys just how tall Ghostface is, or lack thereof, when you compare him with some of the other 6-scale figures. If there is a follow-up video you certainly would like to see on this channel, whether it be a comparison of one figure to the other, or you'd like to see me follow up on a figure review that I haven't looked at in a long while, let me know down below in the comments section. If you guys are also new to this channel and enjoying all the content you've been seeing throughout the years, because we've always been posting new content on this channel, be sure you hit that subscribe button down below, turn the bell notification on, and yes, come back to this channel regularly. Because like I said, there's always new stuff popping up. And yes, I did allude in this review that we are going to, in fact, be looking at the 2018 Michael Myers. His review will be coming up shortly. So keep those devilish, ghoulish peepers peeled to this channel. And as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.